My friends from all around the world, hello and welcome to another installment of Speed News with me, R. White Goose. It's about time we catch up and talk about some news and records in the speedrunning community. And on today's news, we have some insane Goldeneye action with 3 new Untied world records so far this month of July. Then we have a great example of what not to do in speedrunning, if you've ever wondered that yourself. We have an update on the recent Mario Kart 64 world records. But first, the big news this week is that the results for the Super Mario Sunshine timing debate are in. You may have seen some videos or tweets over the past couple weeks about Mario Sunshine speedrunners holding a referendum deciding on whether or not they should skip the opening 6.5 minutes of cutscenes and a few seconds of gameplay in their speedruns. And the @SMS community Twitter shared the results of their vote, with keep watching the cutscenes winning 56 to 44%, or 142 votes to 113. There's a really nice breakdown with some cool charts they made up, so you can see that across pretty much every category, there was roughly this 5-4 split. So that's that, and the timing method will remain the way it was. Now, I would advise the guys who do still want to skip it to just do so. Grind out their own runs, give people a reason to care about the race file category as its own thing. There's certainly no rule barring them from doing that much. Obviously, runs like this wouldn't count on the leaderboards for any percent. That's been decided, but, be the change you want to see in the world. That being said, it does seem like this was a healthy, productive discussion for the community to have, and something that helps them move forward with a common direction. I think tweets like this one are just way off base. You do see them pop up pretty much every time there's some sort of disagreement in a speedrunning community, and just have a little bit more faith in your speed game, I've seen speedrun communities and other online communities go through all sorts of insane controversy, things that make deciding when to begin timing a speedrun look like the benign issue it is, yet they always survive. 2 people disagreeing with each other, or 142 people disagreeing with 113 people, isn't going to tear the community apart. So just calm your horses, get back to your speed game, like JJ Plays Games did, scoring a 7th place 1:15:30 just days ago on the strength of the solidification of the new rules. Next news item we have is a little more light. It's been a couple weeks now, but I've been wanting to talk about it for a while. This post made it to the top of our speedrun titled, "What Not to Do in Speedrunning," and it shows this video of someone who goes by Gaming Zone Entertainment making an announcement video to claim a world record in a game called The Incredibles: Rise of the Underminer. I don't know anything about the game aside from it being one of those video game adaptations or spin-offs from a movie. It sold 160,000 copies in 2005. This guy claims a 52:06, which would beat the record by Dwaynium B by over 2 minutes. The reason Gaming Zone Entertainment refuses to post a video of his unbeatable Incredibles run is because Dwaynium has apparently backstabbed him many times, including removing Gaming Zone Entertainment's valid run from the leaderboard and installing a, quote, kid as a supermod. Gaming Zone Entertainment also claims to have come up with 3 new skips and wants to keep them secret forever, so Dwaynium is always number 2 in the game as an ultimate form of revenge. Obviously, this is all a farce. Everyone knows that whenever this kind of claim happens, it's never legit. We used to see a lot of claims like this back in the early days of speedrunning when proof calls were less frequent. People could get away with claiming some records using secret skips that they didn't want to share. Stephen Jorties. But after, years and years of these sort of claims never actually coming true, speedrunning has learned not to legitimize these. The video was sitting at a 0 to 65 like-dislike ratio when I tweeted out a screenshot a while ago. I knew some trolls would give it a like after that, so now it's at 2 to 149, which is still pretty bad. Puts it up there near the Getting Started with YouTube Heroes video. Gaming Zone Entertainment released another video a week later, claiming he got a 5.50 in Dragster. So maybe we're just seeing the rise of a future prolific troll in the speedrunning community. Moving on to Goldeneye, we've seen 3 untied world records in July, and aside from Ace's Bunker 120 in May, which I covered in the last news, these are the first untied world records since February, so it's a pretty big deal. The first one was Carl Jobst on Surface 2 Agent with 46 seconds. Carl used a strategy that had been known about for years, where you can open the bunker door to end the mission from above while in full strafe. Only Henrik, who discovered the strategy, ever really used it in runs. Carl thought to himself that this might be enough on a really tight run for 46. We had a few chats about it before doing the Perfect Dark Speedler episode, and it was! This meant that Carl didn't have to do the crouched double R lean I described in my video on the most overdue Goldeneye Untied World Records I put out last September, which interestingly, all 5 records I listed there have now been achieved. So maybe it's time to do a 2018 update on overdue records. But this record really shows how sometimes a strategy gets overlooked or is deemed too obscure or difficult and no one wants to learn it, but something so simple can lead to an untied world record. However, Carl holding 4 agent difficulty untied world records simultaneously was not to last for long, as only 2 days later, our lean specialist Graviton matched Carl's 46. He actually came close to untying it himself before Carl got it in a heated race for the untied, ever since Carl suggested the Henrik door from above strategy made 46 more viable. But then later that day, Grav turned his sights to Runway Double Agent, where you might know he's held a 3-second untied with 29 seconds, over a few people have 32. But Grav always knew 28 to be possible with slightly better movement and more refined throws. And he got this run.
Let's go. Oh! Yes! Yeah! Yes! It's over, dude. It's over, dude.
Then we had Daniel Wotus Coelho return to Goldeneye after not having scored a personal record since November 2017. So it was quite shocking to see the Elite Bot post in Discord his Aztec Agent 123, a 1-second untied over a small jam at 124, among himself and 3 others, Clemens, Luke Sklarz, and Isa Smith. Wotus initially posted the run as a phone video capture with commentary just to prove he had proof of the run, as he didn't have his capture equipment set up at the time, so it's a pretty fun vintage feeling video to watch. He didn't really use any new strategies, just had a really finely executed run with some very prime parts to it, especially the whole ending with a perfect big room run to upload the launch protocol data. A truly remarkable speedrun. Then we have a lot of action on Surface 2 Double Agent with Ilu dropping a 126, using another overlooked strategy we've known about and largely ignored for ages, shooting the last camera through a window as opposed to going inside the satellite dish and shooting the camera. For some perspective, Clemens set a 126 as an untied world record in January 2008, and since then only Mark Rutsu, Brian Bosshart, and Clemens have matched or beat 126 in that decade, the current record being 124 by Boss, using an insanely inconsistent and rare 2-grenade lure strategy. So Ilu's 126 is a big deal, and since then Clemens has also been playing Surface 2 Double Agent with this strategy. He had this world record pace run the other night.
Oh my god. God, what? 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 What the fuck was it? Oh my god. Oh my god. Why? Why?
So yeah, you can see he nailed the last camera through the window, completed the objectives, and then got stuck on a guard for a couple of seconds. Still managing a 127, I calculated Clemens to lose about a second and a half on that stuck. So this run definitely was at least 126, maybe 125. Ilu then had another really solid run, completing all objectives, but missing the final door warp, losing at least a second, and duping his 126. Ouch! Suffice to say, there is an ongoing race to tie or beat the record on Surface 2 Double Agent. Definitely something to keep your eyes peeled on over the next week or two on Alu or Clemens' streams.
How the f did I miss that warp?
And finally tonight, a quick update on Mario Kart 64 non-shortcut time trials. Matthias Roostmeyer has been fairly quiet after resting his wrists for a few weeks. He did lower the Calamari Desert flap record by 0.01 seconds at the tail end of June.
Yes! That was so surprising.
Taking down the second oldest non-shortcut world record at the time, which he set himself in December 2013. And this was only younger than Bowser's Castle flap from June 2013. However, as often happens when a record gets a target on its back, Daniel Burbank went after Bowser's Castle flap, tying Matthias's 4320, the oldest non-shortcut record in the game.
Man, that clip seemed really good though, but I'm not a great judge of it on the fast lap. I'm definitely curious what this is. Whoa! World record, baby! That was completely unexpected. Holy crap.
And then Burbank carried on to Bowser's Castle 3-lap, beating Matthias's 2:12.40 by 0.01 seconds. This just days ago, knocking Matthias back to 29 out of 32 total world records in Mario Kart 64 non-shortcut time trials. It's really becoming an incredible rivalry, and we eagerly anticipate a response from Matthias or further action from Daniel.
Yeah, Pichu's got it.
So there you have it. There is your speed news for late July 2018. A huge thanks, by the way, to the dozens or so people who ended up suggesting Speed News as the title of these videos. There were a lot of very clever suggestions, but simplicity ended up winning out with the based Henrik Weister Norgren using his obliteratingly strong logic, saying, Speed lore, Speed News. Casting too wide a net is probably not an issue, since Speed lore also only focuses on specific games. And how can you argue with that? So, Speed News it is. If you enjoyed this episode, do subscribe to the channel, as there will be another Speed News update when needed, and a lot of other speedrunning content between then and now. Thanks for watching. In the meantime, stay true, and I'll see you in the next stream or video.